Hi guys, welcome to another video of our API automation series. In our previous video, we have already discussed about the authentication part, how to authorize the APIs, right? And if there is authorization, what are the different type of authentication are there? We have already discussed on these things, right? We have talked about what is basic authentication, what is BRR, what is auth 1.0 and 2.0. These are the different type of authentication method is there. So we have already discussed on those things, and also we have seen the different type of requests. Let's say get, post, put, delete, and also we have seen that how to use the get request and how to use the post request, post calls using the REST APIs, right? In this video, we are going to discuss about the authorization part, how we can use it using the REST assured call, okay, and how this authorization we can use in our API or respective calls. So let's directly jump to the Postman tool, and I'll show you there. I have one API. Let's see. You can see here login API. I have one API which what it does actually. This is the API endpoint URL, and this is the API body, right? This is something that I have to use the data for creating a token. So if I say send request, then you can see we're getting a token here in the response, right? So this is something, a token which I have to use for my subsequent request API calls. So let me show another API which is needed this token for doing the execution. Let's say I have shown already in my previous video, but also in this video I'm going to show you. Let's say there is another API I have, that is get user details, and this is the API endpoint URL. If I right now hit this API, now it is saying giving me 401 unauthorized, this status code, right? 401. And here you can see in the body it is giving me the message as token expired. That means this API needs the token, and the token we should be active token, right? You cannot provide an expired token. So what we can do actually, so we have generated the token from here, right? So what I can do, I can just directly copy, right? And let's see, I'm selecting and I just copied it, and I'll pass the token over here. You can see here in the header section I have one key added, authorization, right? This is how you can provide the token. So here in the value of the token, I have to pass the value that token I have copied from the previous one, right? So if I now hit the request, now I said send, now you can see I got the status code as 200, and this is the body I got, right? So that means the status code, the authorization token I have passed, now this is working fine, right? So there, and you can see that status, this authorization key also has some expired time, right? By default it can be, sometime it is half an hour, sometime it is 1 hour or 1 day or anything. It is configurable completely. For this case we just set it for 10 minutes, so the token will be valid for 10 minutes. After that it will get expired, right? So now the question is, if you want to automate this scenario in your actual cases, right, in your project, then how you are going to handle these token things. Let's say I have this API and I want to get the user details, right? So how you can do? So let's say I'm taking you to my actual code. There will be doing this particular scenario. So I'll be taking you to IntelliJ first. So let's say I'm going to IntelliJ. I'm creating one, let's say I'm creating one phrase class, let's say get user with authorization, right? So let me create one test first quickly. So I'll say test, and I'll say public void get users, right? And after that, what I can see, let's say here what I can do, I can first let me first initialize request specification. I'll say request specification. Let's sort out the name as request only, and then I'll say resisted dot given, right? So this is how we initialize the resisted, and after that what we can say, we can just set the base URI. So we can say base URI, and the base URI is nothing but, you know already, this is something that .com, right? So this is my base URL is going to be, and okay, now the next job is to my for this get user, I need to say as a get request, right? So we can directly pass that. So let's say I'm saying request dot get, right? And here I have to pass the endpoint. So the endpoint is going to be my auth slash me. So I'll just pass it over here, and once I hit the request as get request, and I'll be getting the response. So let's store it into a response type of object. So response equal this, and let's print the status code. So I'll say is out response dot status code, and we can print the body also. So let's print response dot body and dot pretty print, right? So let me quickly execute the test. Let's see what happens. Now you can see here we are getting authorization problem, right? That means we are not passing the authentication details. So here you can understand, until unless you are not passing the authentication details, the API is not allowing us to fetch the data from the application, right? So here what I have to do, I have to provide the authentication details. So if you notice here in the Postman tool, we pass the headers authentication token there in the header section, right? So similar thing we have to pass there in my script also. So I'll do, I'll copy this header code, and what I'll do, I have to set that header, right? So what I can do, you say request dot header, and you can pass the key, and after that you can pass the value also. So value, let me just copy this token from here. So you can see now I just pasted that you can see that token I got from there, right? And so this is all done, right? I set the header, and after that I'll see that get it. Let's try to rerun it like once again. Perfect, right? Now you can see we got the response code as 200, and we got the response also, that is the same response that we are getting there in the Postman tool, right? So this is how we can authorize our APIs for if you have this kind of authentication. But here one problem, guys. Let's say this is the authentication token that we are passing there directly there in the header, right? So this authentication token is, it has some expiry time, right? So let me stop the video here for a couple of minutes. So, and after that I'll show you that the token is got expired, and it is not in, we cannot use that same token one again and again, right? So I'll just pausing the video, I'll resume it after some time. We have already crossed the token wait time that we have given, right? Token expired the time limit. Now if you see, if I run this stage now once again, and you can see that now we are getting that uh, status code as 401, and that it is saying that the message it is printing as token expired, right? So this is how so now right now you can see if the token is getting expired, then it is not allowing me to fetch the user details, right? So we are not getting the user details from the database, from the application side, right? So this is why we have to we have to exceptionally taking care of these authorization details. And here you can see the problem is, every time this token is getting expired, we have to go to Postman, and we have to uh, regenerate this authentication token, and we have to paste it over here, right? That is something a headache, that is something an issue to us, this is not a problem. So how we can do how we can dynamically paste this particular token, right? So what you can do actually, let's take this into a string. Let's say I say token, I'll store this value into a token. Let's say I'll say this is my token value is going to be, right? So what I can say actually, instead of now passing it over here, I can just say, let me remove this. So I'll say token, right? So what happened actually, if I run this code once again, so I'm storing that token value into a particular string. Now I'm passing that string to my header, and that header I'm going to use here. Now this is already expired token, so it is not going to be used, right? So what we can do actually, we can do generate a token runtime when the script is running, right? So what we can do, we can create an we can create a support method. Let's say I'm creating public void get token, right? So I'm creating a separate method, and inside of this method I'll create the I'll create the token, right? So I'll generate the token. How we can generate, you see already we have the, for generating the token we have another API, right? So this is again another API. So this is the endpoint URL, and this is the method type we have to select as a post, and this is the body of that particular token, right? Particular token generation API. So this token generation, this body I have to use. Let's say first of all what I'll do, I'll create an let's say here what I'll do, first of all, let's say I'll say request specification. I'll say request specification equals ratio dot given, right? First I initialize the, let's say I'm initializing the API REST ratio, and after that what I can say, request specification dot base URI. I can set the base URI, this should be till this one, right? And this is my base URI. And after that what I need that the body, right? This is something I need, and another information I need is the I have to do the post request. So there are two another thing details we need. For me, for right now, let's copy this particular JSON data, and I'll store it into a string type variable. Let's say my body is equal to, this is my JSON data is going to be, right? Let's increase the wait time, instead of 2 seconds I'll say, let's say 30 seconds, 30 minutes, sorry, right? So after that, once we have the body ready, what we can do, we can now, we are ready to hit the request, right? So what I can say, request specification, and after that we can say body, and I have the body is already defined. So after that I can say post request, right? Inside of this I need the endpoint URL. So endpoint URL is going to be auth/login, right? So you can use that over here. And what I can say, what I can do, this is the something, once we have hit the post request, we can store it into a response type variable. So we can say response, and response equal this, right? So it will going to store. After that, what we can say, we have to extract the data from the response, right? You will be getting the response like this, and from this response you have to get the token value, right? For getting the token value from the response, we can use the there is JSON path. JSON path is there, so we can use the JSON path, and you can see response.json path, right? And from that response.json path, what you can do actually, you can directly use dot body. Okay, let me do it separately. After that, what I can say, JSON path dot body, JSON path dot get string, right? This is something you have to say, and here you have to pass the key. So the key is this is my JSON object, and here the token is present there inside of this key, particular key, right? Token. So we have to pass the key over here. It is going to return me the data. So now we can directly return it. Let me just print it first, and I'll say string token is equal to this. And after that, what we can say, let me print the token also, so we can verify that okay, we got the token from there. So let's say I'll say token paste this, right? So we are printing the token whatever we have pasted, and I want to return the data. For that I need to change the method type from void to string, so that I can return the data. And here I can say return token, right? And this token, that token that is going to be returned from this particular method, that token I am going to use in my code, right? So here I can say, can I say instead of this particular token, a hard coded token, instead of this particular hard coded token, can I say token? Okay. So instead of this hard-coded token, I just remove this and I'll say get token, right? So whatever token will be getting from this particular method, it is going to be stored into this particular variable token, right? And we can now use this token into this particular call, and it will going to and then we'll be hitting this particular get request call, right? Now let's run this program and see what happens. You see we are getting some issue. Token page is null, and we are getting an illegal argument exception. So something is wrong there in the fetching token. So what I can do actually, let me check this particular reason, and let me check from the API here, right? So here my page authentication token is this one, and here if I go to the body, here you can see we have set another parameter, content type header, right? So let me use that there over also. So how can we use? So let's say after this we can say request specification dot header, and here inside of this I set the key, and let me pass the value also. So the value of this particular key should be application/json. Now let's run this code and let's see what happens. See, now perfect, right? We got the token. It is saying that token fetch is this. So this is something with the token we fetched from the running code run. And after that we have used that token inside my get request, get user details. You can see it has printed this status code over here, and it has printed the body that we have printed from here, right? So this is how we can use the authentication details. So what do you get to know here, that how to dynamically generate the token when we can use it inside my for any subsequent request calls. So every time what actually you have to do, before you hit the particular API, right? So here we are actually hitting the particular API, right? So in this section we are doing the setup and hit the particular get request. Before of that we are generating the token. So we make ensure that the token is generated, which is the latest token, and it is not going to be invalid or or expired token, right? So for that reason we do not have to use that hard coded token, correct? Hope you got it, guys. So what you can, so this statement is for generate token at runtime, right? So this is how we can use the token generation, and you can use in your code, so that every time you do any get request, post request, whatever calls you are going to do perform, so in that if you need the token, so you can generate in this way. And this is the supporting method which is going to provide me the token generated. Once the token is generated, it is going to assign into this particular variable, and that is something we are passing in the header, right? yeah, this is all I think for about the token generation. And um, there can't be any other type of token generation, but this is something that we are using the dummy JSON in this application. So we are using this particular token generation API. For this case, we have to use the we have to hit this particular API, and once you hit the particular API, you will get the token key, right? And after that, to fetch the details of the user, get auth user, you have to pass the token there in the particular get request, right? Here you can see authorization, and you have to pass the value of that particular authorization details, right? So this is how we are going to use authentication in you can say in our script, right? So if you have still any doubt or any question, just let me know, and we'll try to